Welcome back to the Chapter Café, where stories steep like tea and imagination flows like espresso. Today we're opening the pages of Love and Legend with an episode that blends romance and reimagined fairy tales. From glass slippers that don't fit to enchanted forests with modern twists, we're diving into tales where happily ever afters come with a dash of realism and a whole lot of heart. Whether you're a hopeless romantic, a fairy tale skeptic, or just someone who loves a good story with a fresh spin, this episode is your invitation to fall in love with the unexpected. So grab your favorite drink, settle in, and let's explore the magic of storytelling, where love rewrites the rules and fantasy meets the feels. We've gathered a mix of backlist treasures, those enchanting gems that have quietly cast their charm over time, and fresh new releases that promise to sweep you off your feet. Whether you're craving a familiar tale with a modern twist or a love story that defies the fairy tale mold, these picks are perfect for our current course offerings. Now, let's talk about new releases. These are hot off the enchanted press, or if we're lucky, sometimes advanced readers' copies that give us a sneak peek into the next big love story or fantasy retelling. Keep an eye out for these at your local bookstores or libraries. They're well worth the quest. And here's how our literary feast unfolds. I've organized these titles into courses, appetizers, entrees, and desserts. Think of it as a fairy tale banquet where you can nibble on whimsy, feast on passion, and indulge in happily ever afters. If you've already read any of these titles, don't keep your thoughts locked in a tower. Share them. I'd love to hear what enchanted you. Now let's begin with our first course. Now that we've set the table, let's begin with the heart of our feast, romance. Whether it's slow-burning tension, enemies to lovers' sparks, or soulmates separated by time, these stories serve up emotion in every bite. So grab your glass slipper, or maybe just a cozy blanket, and let's dive into the tales that make our hearts race and remind us why we keep turning the pages. We'll begin our literary banquet with the appetizers, 2 delectable romance novels that offer just a taste of the magic to come. First on our platter is Battle Royale by Lucy Parker. Picture this: Sylvie, a whimsical baker with a flair for fantastical, and Dominic, a stoic perfectionist with royal ties. When they're pitted against each other in a competition to create the perfect wedding cake for a princess, sparks fly, and not just from the oven. It's a delicious enemies-to-lover tale with royal stakes and sugary tension. Will love rise to the occasion or crumble under pressure? Next, we're serving up the book proposal. Enter Gracie Landing, a romance author whose life has taken a detour straight into heartbreak and writer's block. With her manuscript stalled and her spirits low, she turns to cocktails and confidence for support. But sometimes rock bottom is just the beginning of a new chapter. This story blends humor, healing, and the messy magic of rediscovering love on and off the page. These opening bites are full of flavor, witty banter, emotional depth, and the promise of happily ever afters. So let's savor these starters and prepare for the next course in our romantic feast. Moving on to the entrees, the hearty centerpieces of our romantic feast, where the stakes are higher and the emotions run deeper. First on the plate is Text Appeal. Meet Lark, a brilliant programmer whose fairy tale moment turns into a pumpkin crash when a presentation mishap derails her dream job. Suddenly, she's navigating a workplace full of wolves in sheep's clothing, and the path forward is anything but clear. But like any good heroine, Lark doesn't back down. She rewrites her story with grit, grace, and maybe a little unexpected love along the way. Next up is Boot Camp. Whitney Carmichael isn't your typical heroine. She's the artistic soul in a family of athletes, and after one too many tennis ball mishap, she signs up for a 5-week boot camp to prove she's stronger than she thinks. What follows is a tale of transformation, laughter, and finding confidence in unexpected places. Think of it as a modern-day quest with sweat, sass, and a side of romance. Both of these entrees will offer bold journeys of self-discovery, resilience, and the kind of inner strength that makes happily ever afters feel earned. Let's dig in and enjoy every bite. Welcome to the desserts course, where the stories are rich, the emotions indulgent, and the endings oh so satisfying. These final selections are all about second chances, unexpected magic, and the kind of sweetness that lingers long after the last page. First up is the Breakup Tour. Think of it as a ballad for the brokenhearted, but with a twist. A rising musician embarks on a tour that unexpectedly reunites her with an old flame, and suddenly the lyrics of her life start to change. It's a tale of rekindled romance, emotional harmony, and rewriting the past into something heartbreaking. If you've ever wished for a fairy tale encore, this one certainly delivers. Next, we have Summer Romance by Annabelle Monaghan. Our heroine, a professional organizer whose own life is delightfully chaotic. Enter a blast from the past, an unexpected ally who helps her sort through more than just the clutter. With humor, heart, and a touch of summer magic, this story reminds us that sometimes the best transformations begin when we least expect them. These dessert selections are the perfect finale, full of warmth, wit, and the kind of love that feels like a happily ever after with whipped cream on top. Now that we've indulged our tales of love, laughter, and second chances, it's time to step into the enchanted wing of our feast, the reimagined fairy tales. These stories take the classics we know, glass slippers, poisoned apples, and enchanted forests, and twist them into something fresh, fierce, and utterly captivating. So let's open the storybook and see how these authors have rewritten the rules of happily ever after. Beginning with our enchanting appetizers, we offer 2 captivating reimaginings that offer a taste of transformation, mystery, and magic. First is Red Riding Hood. This isn't the tale you remember from childhood. In a village cloaked in suspicion and shadow, familiar figures like the blacksmith, the woodcutter, and the werewolf each harbor secrets and intentions towards our crimson-cloaked heroine. She navigates a world where danger and desire blur. This story asks what happens when fate isn't fixed and the path through the woods is hers to choose. Next up is Kiss the Girl. We meet Ariel Del Mar, a pop sensation whose voice enchants millions, but whose true self remains hidden beneath the glittering surface. Inspired by The Little Mermaid, this modern retelling dives deep into themes of identity, longing, and the courage to speak your truth. It's a story for anyone who's ever felt voiceless in a world that demands performance. Both tales invite us into realms where fairy tale archetypes are turned on their heads and heroines reclaim their narratives. Let's savor these starters and prepare for the main course, where the magic only intensifies. Moving on to the entrees, the heartier fare of our literary feast, where classic fairy tales are not just retold, but reimagined with depth, darkness, and caring. First up is Blood and Chocolate. When Vivian is no ordinary heroine, she's a werewolf torn between 2 worlds, the wild, primal pull of her pack, and the quiet longing for a human life. This tale blends the feral beauty of transformation with the ache of adolescence, asking what it means to embrace your true nature when love and loyalty collide. It's Little Red Riding Hood turned inside out, with the wolf as the girl and the danger lying within. Next, we'll feast on Ash, a haunting, lyrical retelling of Cinderella. Ash is a girl grieving, trapped in a world that has stripped her of joy and agency. But when she encounters a mysterious fairy, the story shifts from survival to possibility. This version doesn't promise a prince. It offers choice, self-discovery, and a love that defines convention. It's a quiet rebellion wrapped in moonlight and myth. Both of these entrees will challenge the traditional fairy tale mold, inviting us to explore identity, desire, and the transformative power of claiming one's story. Let's savor their richness before we move on to the final, sweetest course. Welcome to desserts, where longing and enchantment combine into the sweetest finales of our fairy tale feast. First, we savor Evergreen. Imagine biting into a jewel-toned confection as you read of Quill, a 17-year-old gardener confined to his family's lush, secret garden. He tends each blossom with care, yet craves the wild world beyond the hedges, like tasting a forbidden fruit. His mother's protective vines may hold him back, but every petal stirs his desire for something more, weaving a bittersweet tale of growth and the price of curiosity. Next is The Delight of In the Moorings of Mackerel Sky. This story is a sea-salted caramel swirl of myth and community. Captain Burbank, mesmerized by a mermaid song, moors his ship and unknowingly plants the seeds of a town born from love and sacrifice. Here, the ocean's haunting lullaby transforms into a legacy, one where passion and heritage mix like sugar and spice, leaving a lingering sweetness that echoes through every tide. Let these final courses linger on your palate, inspiring dreams of gardens yet wandered and seas yet charted. As our enchanted banquet draws to a close, I want to thank you for savoring every course with me. From the tantalizing appetizers of swoon-worthy romances to the hearty entrees of reimagined fairy tale heroines and the indulgent desserts of longing and transformation, I hope these stories have left you spellbound and inspired. If you've enjoyed today's feast, please subscribe, rate, and share this podcast with fellow book lovers. Join the conversation on social media. Tag us in your fairy tale retellings, bookish photos, and reviews. Your voice brings our magical community to life. Until next time, may your pages be ever enchanting, and your happily ever after always within reach. Thank you for joining us at the table. Keep dreaming, keep reading, and may every story you encounter feel like a little bit of magic.